This conference will now be recorded.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for our next installment of the BYF Ambassadors My Journey to Construction series. We are here with Nick today, and I'm going to let him get us started by telling us who he is and what he does.
Hi everyone, I'm Nick Zaberdac. I'm originally from Crown Point, Indiana, and I live here in Indianapolis. Currently, I am a project engineer with IU Health. I'm assigned to the Riley Maternity and Newborn Health renovation project. Prior to that, I was a safety coordinator for a mid-sized general contractor here in town. And before that, I had a short stint on the tunnel project here in Indianapolis.
Awesome, Nick. Will you tell us a little bit about why you got into construction and why this was your career of choice?
Sure. So I went to IU Bloomington for my undergrad, majored in occupational safety, and I was fortunate enough to experience two internships during my time there. The first was in a manufacturing environment, and the second was in construction. It was on the Deep Rock Tunnel Connector project here in Indianapolis. And from there, I just really fell in love with it. Was fortunate to know what field I wanted to go into really before I graduated. Um, and so I've been with it ever since. I've had some relatives that work in construction as well, and they always talked really highly about it and how much they liked how every day was different.
What's your favorite part of your job?
I think my favorite part is probably the fact that I could go from talking to a senior leader in a hospital to talking to a construction worker in a matter of minutes. And you have to be on top of your verbal communication skills in either aspect. But I think that's really the coolest part of my job is I get to talk to people all across the board on all ends of the hospital and all ends of the construction site.
Awesome. Thinking back to your time in high school, or maybe even actually specifically your first job, where did you get your start? What was the first job you had, and what was it like?
So my first, I would say, construction job was safety intern on the Deep Rock Tunnel Connector project. Um, for construction, that one is pretty intense. It's a heavy civil job. It's underground, 250 feet underground, and that was just an eye opener to me as far as what I was getting into in the construction world. It was an awesome experience. From there, I kind of wanted to get more into building construction, so that led me um, to a mid-sized general contractor here in town that did a lot of healthcare work, a lot of healthcare construction renovation type work, and ultimately led me to where I am today. Um, Going back to high school, though, one regret that I have is that I didn't take a lot of the shop classes, wood shop, machine shop, auto shop, those types of classes that I think are invaluable. And I just wish I would have taken those to kind of have a deeper appreciation than I already do for our tradespeople out there.
Speaking of high school, you mentioned that you didn't take construction or shop classes. What was your high
Mhm.
school career like? What were your grades like? What else were you involved in during that time?
I was typically on the honor roll. I was more interested in being kind of a business person, I guess. I took a lot of business classes, a lot of social studies classes. But really, I think where my interest in construction really sparked was I took 3 years worth of architectural drafting classes. Had some really good teachers and really good fellow students in those classes that made them really fun and interesting. Got to learn AutoCAD and all that fun stuff. So I think those are the kind of the classes that maybe probably started to lead me in the direction of construction. But like I said, unfortunately, that's probably the extent of how close I got to a construction related course in high school. I was more focused on the business stuff and social studies and whatnot. So
Absolutely. You mentioned earlier that one of the favorite parts of your jobs is the communication component. What other skills, what other things are from your perspective that you would think would be really helpful for someone who's thinking about going into the construction industry that maybe isn't specifically the trade itself? What other like soft skills do you think that someone should possess or should learn before they go into construction?
Yeah, so aside from verbal communication, I think written communication is really important. On the project management side, you have to be careful in how you craft an email, depending on who it's to. But I think most importantly, across the board in the industry as a whole, you have to be punctual and reliable. And unfortunately, I've seen superintendents run people off just for being late. Um, that's probably not the right way to handle it, but I think it's part of being in the construction world is that you're expected to be on time and be reliable. The people that you're working with, no matter what level you're on, are depending on you to be there every day. So reliability is really key. And the only way that you can gain that trust from everyone is to be reliable every day and to learn as much as you can starting out.
Awesome. Today we're talking with probably some high school students that are in construction courses or that are at least thinking about construction as a future for them. What would you tell them as a reason that they should pursue the construction industry as a great opportunity for their future career?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's fun. I've never, out of the three jobs I've had in construction, they've all been really fun. I've never really dreaded going to work any day. And a big part of that is because, like I mentioned before, every day is different. You never know what fire you have to put out, metaphorically, of course. But so many different things get thrown at you every day. Another cool thing about construction is that there's so many different types of construction. When I started out, I was in underground construction, which I didn't even really know was a thing until I was in college. Now, from there, I went to building construction, and now I'm really focused with IU Health on healthcare construction. And it kind of took me a while to figure out that that's where I wanted to end up. But I think that's kind of part of the beauty of the industry is there's so many different ways you can go, but the only way that you're going to know that way is if you try some different specialties out. So
Absolutely. Just a chance to try some new things and learn some stuff out. I think that's important. Well, we're wrapping up our time together. Thanks for spending it with us. Before we go, though, is there anything else you'd like to share? Maybe parting thoughts or one last thing that you'd like to share with our audience of high school students that are thinking about construction?
yeah, I think probably the most important thing is, and especially with our current situation in the world right now, just enjoy your time in high school while you have it. Don't feel like you have to make a decision right away on your career. And secondly, I would say if you're in high school, find that teacher, find that family friend or family member that can kind of help coach and guide you. And once you get into your career, try and find that person that can kind of coach you because I'll be the first to tell you that I'm still very green in the industry and I ask a ton of questions. So I think it's really important to have those role models who are able to kind of help guide you and lead you in the right direction. And I'm fortunate to have a lot of those.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time. Thanks everybody for joining us again for another installment of this video series, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thanks.